Hello, welcome to Today in History. My name is Sotonie Afiesimam. Let's roll back the blind to the year 1837. And this is the futuristic London Euston station. This station was the first railway station in London. So the first railway station in London opened on this day in 1837. But like I mentioned earlier, this is a futuristic vision of London's premier railway station. That's what it looks like today. At the moment, there's renovation works going on, so maybe not even as pretty as this at the moment. And that's the station jam-packed with commuters. Reminds me of the station in New York now. What's it called? Central? Is it not Central Park? Is it called Central Park Station? Yeah, those of you New Yorkers watching, comment below. Let me know. Grand Central. That's the one. Grand Central Station. Yeah, it reminds me of Grand Central. I mean, this is nothing compared to Grand Central, but yeah, it's suppose it approaches the size of Grand Central. King's Cross is another one that's quite big in London. King's Cross and Pancras. That's Euston Station again. Yeah, it's one which I'm very familiar with. I live in Manchester, in the north of England, northwest of England specifically. And this is a train station that most people who live in the northwest would go through or would leave from in London to get to Manchester and Liverpool and, most of the north and Scotland as well. So Euston Station, and that's an old picture of Euston Station. This is probably the first design. When Euston Station was opened in 1837, this is very likely what it looked like. Victorian architecture. Okay, so let's move on to the next news item. On this day, 1925, this writer, his name is Frantz Fanon. He was born on this day in Martinique. He's most well known for his classic novel titled Wretched of the Earth. His full name was Frantz Omar Fanon, also known as Ibrahim Frantz Fanon. He was a French West Indian psychiatrist and political philosopher from the French colony of Martinique, as I mentioned earlier. It's a French department today. His works are influential in the fields of post-colonial studies, critical theory, and Marxism. As well as being an intellectual, Fanon was a political radical. He was a Pan-Africanist and Marxist humanist concerned with the psychopathology of colonization and the human social and cultural consequences of decolonization. Interesting. This guy is well read, smart dude. So he was born on this day in 1925. His name again is Frantz Fanon. Frantz is spelled F-R-A-N-T-Z. So if you want to dig more about him, yeah, you can find him online on the internet, Wikipedia. Frantz Fanon. 1944 on this day. Hitler. Yeah, there was a target. German conspirators target Hitler in the 20th July plot. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, so this nose drawing is a bit just unconscious. I'm doing it without realizing I'm doing it most of the time, so do bear with me. I'll try my best to be as the least disruption to the video as possible. So yeah, did mention German conspirators target Hitler in what is today known as the 20th of July plot. So in this 20th of July plot, as you can see from the diagram here, quite interesting. So the green for survival, blue Hitler, red casualty, and then the bomb in the briefcase, which interestingly is, well, I won't say quite a distance from Hitler, but if you wanted to kill the Führer, you could at least have put it halfway between him and where it was. I suppose it wasn't practicable at the time. That was the reason why the bomb was kept there. Anyway, so apparently those who obviously tried to kill him were eventually arrested and executed. So that's the aftermath of the bombing. And I guess that table there in the middle of this picture is a table in the diagram that I showed you earlier. So quite interesting. Just found this out today actually while I'm preparing for the video. So we'll move on to the year 1969. So exactly 25 years later, the moon landing, which nearly everyone on the planet should be aware of. So this is the anniversary of the moon landing in 1969, which was 51 years ago. So this was the day that Neil Armstrong steps foot on the moon. And the time he did that was 10:56 p.m. EDT. Now, EDT is Eastern Daylight Time. So essentially, for those of us who are in the United Kingdom, we are on British Summer Time now. So we're 5 hours ahead of EDT, and those on EDT are usually those in New York, so the east coast of the United States, mainly. Okay, so American astronaut Neil Armstrong was 240,000 miles from Earth on this day, 51 years ago, and he made that famous statement, "That's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind." Obviously made the statement when he first stepped foot on the moon 51 years ago. Let's move now to the year 1973, and this famous actor actually became famous after he died, His name, as you may well know, is Bruce Lee. He died on this day. It's suspected he died of an brain edema, the Americans, you guys spell it E-D-E-M-A, and the British would start the spelling with an O, so it's O-E-D-E-M-A. Right, we'll move on to the next occurrence today. 1989, Aung San Suu Kyi, this lady, she was put under house arrest. Apparently she's a force for Burmese democracy, just like her dad. I did do a video about her dad yesterday, who led his country to independence. Obviously she is followed in her dad's footsteps, and the government of the day did not like what she was doing. She was put under house arrest by her country's ruling military junta, and remains confined to her home on and off for 21 years. She eventually received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. So that's Aung San Suu Kyi on this day, 1989. We move on to the last but not least occurrence on this day. The United Arab Emirates successfully launches a probe to Mars. So that happened today. And it got me thinking, there must be something with the month of July and space exploration. And I think that I read or heard it possibly in a documentary several years ago about the Earth's rotation, and how launching a spacecraft into orbit at this time on this day is the best time for space exploration. So if there's anyone watching this and knows any better, there's more information, because I've tried Googling information up as well and couldn't find anything. So do a search on Google, or if you know anything, you're a scientist, you're into space travel and all that stuff, let me know in the comment section. Is July the best month? And July 20th the best day of the year for space exploration? If so, why? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Okay, so that wraps it up for today's edition of Today in History. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your views in comments and your views in viewership as well. That makes sense. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow for another edition of Today in History. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and do not forget to subscribe by clicking the notification bell so that you get updates of my video uploads. Thanks again, guys, and I shall see you tomorrow for another edition of Today in History. Stay safe. Bye-bye.